Well, thank you very much. I want to tell you that was a hell of a trip I just took. That was really tough. We had a great time in one of your very nice districts. You know where I'm talking about. And I was told between the weather and we decided brilliantly to rent a small plane because it could save you about 15 minutes if you drove. And we did. We rented a small. We landed with the big one. We got into a small one because the runways were a little small for the other one. And to save 15 minutes, it took us a couple of hours because the small plane didn't work. Somebody in Iowa had a plane that was for rent. And we said, let's take that plane. We'll save a couple of minutes. But, you know, my people were great. They said, look, the people of Clinton won't mind, sir. You can cancel, and it'll be fine. They said, sir, honestly, you could cancel. They won't mind at all. And I said, there's no way I'm canceling Clinton. There's no way. There's no way. Man, do we get an A for effort, though? That was quite a trip. That was quite a trip. But there was no way I would never even think about it, especially when I saw the lines. It's all over the internet, the lines of people going back so far. So I want to thank you. I wouldn't have the courage to do it, if you want to know the truth. We have courage to do a lot of things, but we'll start by just saying, hello, Iowa. You're going to win this election for us so big. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Because 9 days from now, the people of this state are going to cast the most important vote of your entire lives. And I used to say that, 2016, I'd say that, and I meant it. But this is more important because they're destroying your nation. They are destroying your nation like nobody's ever seen before. What they've done is so sad in every way. The borders, the military. You look at all this inflation killing you. Afghanistan, you know, the press, the fake news wants to forget about Afghanistan. The incompetence, which led to other things like Putin going into Ukraine. He went into Ukraine. He saw the incompetence of Afghanistan. He says, let's give it a shot. Why not? They wouldn't have done it with me. They wouldn't have attacked Israel with me. They wouldn't have attacked. There was no way. Iran was broke. They were broke when I was president, and they became very rich in the last 3 years because of Biden. Biden, most corrupt president we've ever had, the worst president we've ever had. The worst president we've ever had, you know? And it's nice because he's an older guy. But this is, I think it's really nice. Jimmy Carter is happy right now because his administration is brilliant. It's brilliant. People say he had a brilliant administration compared to Joe Biden. Crooked Joe Biden. I would say Jimmy Carter was a brilliant president all of a sudden, first time. And I hope he likes hearing that because I mean it. By delivering a massive victory in Iowa, you will send a thundering message straight to crooked Joe Biden and the fake news. Look at all those cameras back there. That's a lot. To the fake news media and all of the evil and sinister people trying to destroy this nation. With your vote for our campaign on Monday, January 15th, it's finally here. We're here. We waited and waited. You will declare that we're going to take back our country, we're going to defeat Joe Biden, and we're going to make America great again. And it all starts here in Iowa, 7 p.m., Martin Luther King Day, so don't stay home, just please, you know. The polls are showing we're going to win by a lot. And worst thing you can do, oh, let's just stay home, Alice. Let's watch it on television. We don't want to do that. You got to get out because the more we win by, we're shooting for November because we got to send a message. We got to send a message. We can't be beaten because if we are beaten, we're not going to have a country left anymore. They're destroying this country. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Grossly incompetent and also totally corrupt. And what they're doing with elections, with the interference, is incredible. It's warfare, and it really is. They call it lawfare. I call it warfare. I think it really is warfare. If you're a first-time caucus goer, you can learn how to caucus and find your caucus location, which is often different than where you normally vote. It's at ia.donaldjtrump.com, okay? And I'm going to be learning how to caucus too, because I'm going to be up here with you. I'll be here. We're not taking any chances. And they're going to teach me all about caucusing, because I didn't do this one before. And we've had some great thrills here, great victories here. We won 2 elections. Do you know that if you win Florida, Ohio, and Iowa, in history, there's never been a president that lost the election, except for me, you know. It was a rigged election. Now, if you win Florida, think of it, Florida, Ohio, and Iowa, there's never been a president. And we won in a landslide, each one of them. We won you in a landslide. We won them all in a landslide. I could give you about 30 other statistics like that, too. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to win this one, and it's going to be the biggest single political event in the history of our country. That's all. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to turn it around fast. Right? So get out and vote. Don't listen to the polls. In fact, pretend instead of being 40 points up or some crazy number, you know, nationally, we're 66% up. It came out. 66%. I don't mean we're at 66. I mean, so you guys are a little far behind for people. I got $28 billion for the farmers, you know, because you're only about 40 points up. But don't believe that either. Pretend you're 1 point down, okay? You're 1 point down. You have to get out and you have to vote, vote, vote. You got to do it by big, big margins. We're thrilled to be joined today by state representatives, fantastic people. Bobby Kaufman, where's Bobby? Bobby, did he do a good job? He was telling you about caucusing. He was telling you about caucusing. Thank you, Bobby. A great guy. Luana Stoltenberg, who's fantastic. Luana, thank you. Great, great job. Thank you for being here. Great endorsements. We have endorsements for from all these people. And Mark Cisneros, thank you very much. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. Great. Appreciate it. Tremendous energy, just tremendous people. We have tremendous endorsements in the state. All over the country, they're pouring in. It's amazing how they pour in when you're winning by 50 or 60 points. All of a sudden, sir, I'd like very much to endorse you. I think you're fabulous. It's amazing how that happens, isn't it? The stakes of this election could not be higher. Under crooked Joe Biden, our borders have been erased. They've been told we don't have borders anymore. It's not even believable, because you can't have a country without borders. Millions of illegal aliens are invading from all over the world. Our middle class is being crushed by Joe Biden's crippling inflation, the worst, maybe the worst we've ever had. They say in 52 years. I guess that's okay, but probably the worst. Violent criminals are running wild in Democrat-run cities, while law enforcement has been weaponized against Christians, conservatives, and people of faith. And, you know, Catholics, I don't know if there are too many Catholics in this room. Are there? You know, they are, I don't know what it is with the Catholics, but they're really going after Catholics. Have you seen that? And I helped the Catholics. I gave them billions of dollars in New York City to help with the schools because they were closing during the China virus period. And they were, people call it COVID. Everyone says, what is COVID? It's a China virus. It came from China. Right? We have war in Europe, war in the Middle East. China is threatening Taiwan. Iran is inches away from a nuclear bomb. You know, they have 37 days there. I just heard now. I say, give me updates on that. 37 days, Iran is going to have a nuclear weapon. If the election weren't rigged, you would have had this thing done within 1 week of the election, and they wouldn't have a nuclear weapon, and they would have been very happy. But they were desperate to make a deal. Now they don't have to make a deal. They're very rich. Biden gave them $250 billion when he took off all the sanctions. That's what they have now. They're now, well, they were broke. And in 3 years, they've made by selling oil to countries that weren't allowed to buy it, because I said to China, if you buy oil, you can't do business in the U.S. They said, like we say, I don't think we're going to buy oil. And I said, we're going to put 100% tariffs on if you do that, too. So it's a terrible thing. You know, it's a terrible thing. But what they've done, and In another 30 days, it's going to be a lot tougher to negotiate. I can tell you that. We would have gotten everything. It's going to be a much different deal. And it's just impossible to believe the incompetence of the people that have destroyed our country. But we're going to get it back, and it's going to be bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Remember that. Remember. Right? Our military has gone woke, and we are teetering on the brink of World War III. This is the closest we've ever come to World War III. I don't know if you see what's going on out there. We have a president who's incompetent. He can't put two sentences together. He can't find his way off the stage. He can't find it, never. He's looking around. He's always looking for stairs. Has anyone seen? You know, to show you how dishonest the fake news is, these guys, they show that, and they say Trump could not find his way off the stage. It's true. And when I mimic him or, talk like he does, which is, I don't want to do it, because every time I do, they say, Donald Trump had a hard time. But that's how dishonest they are. Even when Sean Hannity the other night, I did a town hall. He's a good guy, too. He is a good guy. But he said, okay, because he wanted to, you're not going to be a dictator, is that, I said, no, Sean, I'm going to be a dictator. I said that. Right. These guys know it better than I do. I'm going to be a dictator for one day. And we're going to build the wall. We're going to complete the wall because we built it, but we're going to clean up that hole. We're going to stop, and we're going to finish. He could have finished it in 2 weeks. We built over 500 miles of wall. Could have finished it in 2 weeks. That's when I realized where I was going. But I said, Sean, I'm going to be a dictator. For one day, we're going to do the wall, and we're going to become energy independent. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Drill, baby, drill. And then I said, right, because he's right there. He's on the ball, this guy. Well, he's a Caucus captain. I want one of those hats, too. I like that hat more than... That is a great hat. I'm going to be, look, I'm doing Caucus. I don't know if I'm a captain. I think I'll just be one of the regular folks back there. The captains are big shots with those hats. Those hats are beautiful, white and gold. But I also said to him, right, and then I'm not going to be a dictator. No, one day, I said, one day, we're going to stop the invasion of our country, number one, and we're going to become energy independent. We're going to drill, baby, drill. And then I said, and then I'm not going to be a dictator any longer. So the fake news said, I'm going to be a dictator. In other words, that's where they cut it. I said, I'm going to be a dictator for one day, right? They said, I'm going to be a dictator. They cut the one day out. They cut everything out. And the headline was, Donald Trump wants to be a dictator. We've known it for years. But he's admitted it. And these are like networks. This isn't even the fake CNN and the fake MSDNC, because it is DNC. Democrat National Committee, right? They like Democratic, but it sounds worse when you say Democrat. Democratic sounds too nice. They ought to change the name if they want to be called that. But these are the networks. And the other day was great because, branding is a great thing. Branding is very important in life. I tell you, you want to brand. So I really branded Ron DeSanctimonious. Look, I got him elected, and then he forgot about it. Totally forgot. I got him elected. He was down so low, he had no chance. He came to my office. He said, please, please, tears coming down his eyes. I mean, this guy was desperate. He had somebody that was up 35 points. The Secretary of Agriculture, Adam Putnam. I didn't know the gentleman. I feel sorry for him now. I wish I would have endorsed him. He was at 42 or something. Ron was down at around 3. He was very low. And I said, you know what, okay, because on the impeachment hoax, number 1 and 2, he was one of about 150 congressmen who went on television, would fight for me a little bit. So I didn't know the other guy, so I said, all right, I did. So I pressed that little sacred button. I said, bing, and he went up like the race was over. And the other guy, Adam, he was up in Tallahassee. They were measuring the rooms for carpet. The race was over. It was like about a 30-point spread or some massive spread. And he won, and then I helped him get by the Democrat opponent, who they all said, good-looking guy. They said he was going to be a president someday. Had a big future. Turned out to be a crack addict, but remember that guy? He was a beauty. But he was way ahead of Ron, and we worked, and I said, we'll do a couple of rallies. We did 2 or 3 rallies. We had massive crowds. He won. And then 4 years later, they said, will you run? And he said, I have no comment. When he said, I said, he's going to run. This guy's going to run. I got him elected, and I got him elected. Some people I help. Some people don't need help. I think they all need help, actually, because it's tough out there. But some people don't need much. He was dead. It was over. He was going to go out. He was going to either work at a pizza chain or he was going to work in a law office. And he was dead. He was gone. I got him elected, and then they said, are you going to run? He said, I have no comment on that. I said, this guy's going to run. And my people in the back, they said, sir, don't hit him so hard. He's a Republican, sir. I said, I don't care if he's a Republican. Who the hell cares if he's a Republican? And by the way, we're people of common sense. We're conservative, I guess, and all, right? But what we really are is, because this is what being conservative, I think, is, they're people of common sense. We want borders. We want fair elections. We want low interest rates. We want strong military. We want low taxes. We gave you the biggest tax decrease ever. No, we're people of common sense. We want voter ID, right? Can you imagine? They don't want voter ID. Why does somebody not want voter ID? Because they want to cheat. I'm the only candidate in this race who is up to the task of saving America from every single Biden disaster starting day one. I know every one of them. I know what they've done. We're going to knock them out very quickly. And you won't have to buy an electric car, and you'll be able to cook on your gas stove from day one. And if you want to buy it, you can. But you're going to have a lot of choices. You're going to have a lot of choices, all right? You're going to have, we have something called liquid gold under our feet, right? That equates to gasoline for a car. But it's oil and gas. We have more than any other country. We were making a fortune. We were energy independent. Energy was at the lowest point for decades and decades. We were selling it. We were going to sell to Europe. We were going to sell to Asia. We were going to make so much money. We were going to reduce our debt. But then we had this terrible situation with the election, which was, we can never let that happen again. We can't let it happen again. If it happens again, this country is finished. This country is finished. Since 2016, you and I have been in this battle side by side. And I recognize a lot of the people in this room. We've been doing this for a while. That's why I showed up tonight. I know you. You're not going to take that very nice. Ladies, after standing in line for 6 hours and being in here for 3 hours, although you're listening to good music, right? And then I come say, I'm not going to show up tonight, Clinton. I think that's the end of that. You'd probably vote for Ron DeSanctimonious, Nikki Haley, Vivek. Would you vote for Vivek? You wouldn't vote for sloppy Chris Christie, I don't think. That much you wouldn't do. But taking on the entire corrupt system in Washington like no one's ever done before. We've done that together. Together we stood up, and we really did. We stood up to the failed establishment, the corrupt media. They're the most corrupt people on earth. They are as bad as anybody. Just like I told you the story, walking into a wall, where they show you walking into a wall. They say Trump just walked in, couldn't find his way off the stage. By the way, these stages, this one only has 2 because you people are cheap, but usually you have, usually you have 3 or 4. Some of them have like 5 stairs. You have so many stairs, it's like impossible not to hit one, and he can never find it. This is not the man we want negotiating nuclear with Russia or China. Do we agree? But we stood up, and we stood up to the deep state, the globalists, the warmongers, people that want to go into war with every country, that even countries you've never even heard of. They don't even want us over there. The Wall Street special interests, the open borders fanatics, the Green New Scam people, the Green New Scam. We're spending trillions of dollars on the Green New Scam. And the radical left, we achieved more than any administration in the history of our country. We've done things that nobody believed possible. I mean, biggest tax cut in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, greatest job numbers in history. I mean, we have, their job numbers are fake because a lot of people aren't looking for jobs because they handed them so much money. And those people won't be working for a long time. They're not real job numbers. And our country is in trouble. I actually think that if for any reason something happens and we don't win, I think we're going to go into a depression. The reason the stock market's good is because every poll has us winning by a lot. And every time there's a good poll, watch it, the stock market goes up and up and up and up. And if something happened where it gets stolen, because it's the only way they're going to do it, they're professional thieves. They're the greatest. If they devoted that genius to fixing our country, we would have the most successful country ever, ever. But they're not. They want to destroy the country. With your vote, these caucuses, we're going to finish the job bigger and better and stronger than ever before. Our country will be, believe it or not, it's hard to believe now because you see those scenes at the border with millions of people trying to get in. And don't forget, many of those people are from prisons. Many of those people are from mental institutions, insane asylums. Many of them are terrorists. Many of them are terrorists. We have people coming into our country, and we're going to get them out. We're going to have to, because no country can sustain this. You can't sustain this. Together we have fought long and hard to rescue the Republican Party from the likes of Mitt Romney. How bad is Mitt Romney? Is he the worst? You know, he likes to pretend he's like legit. Remember he did the thing on Twitter? By the way, truth is the best. There's nothing like truth. But in those days it was Twitter, where he had the fake name. Very good. Pierre Delecto. Who the hell said that? That's very good. I was just going to say it. This guy is serious politics, right? That's why we kept Iowa in. That's why we kept, you're only first. You're first in the nation. You're first because of me, not because of anyone else. They like to take credit. They said, sir, could you help us? I said, yeah, I'll do it. I'm going to keep it because I made that pledge to you 7 years ago. I said, if we win, you're going to be first in the nation. They wanted to move you to the back of the pack. And in fact, the Democrats basically have done that. They're not going to be here with us, which is fine as far as I'm concerned. I think it was a stupid decision because to me, Iowa, it means farmers. It means just beautiful, everything. I drove here even in this horrible rain and snow. Well, it's pretty beautiful, actually. The snow came down, the rain came. I saw everything in a period of 20 minutes from... I saw every form of weather in the period of about 25 minutes because we were going slightly fast. Thank you very much, Secret Service. We're going like... Boom. Those red lights, they didn't mean a thing. It was just... But I saw every form of weather you can see. But we're going to do something. We're going to do something really, really great. This will be, when we win, people want to say, I always like to say if, because I don't want to jinx it. You understand? Does anyone understand? They say, sir, not if, it's when. I've seen what they can do. They can work magic. Where you're winning in Pennsylvania by like close to 1 million votes, and all of a sudden, a miracle happens at 3:02 in the morning. They found another 1 million ballots. So we've got very good people. I'll tell you, we have a great group of people, and we had that was China virus territory, and a lot of people were afraid to come out, like security, and a lot of people, they were afraid. Nobody knew what was going on, but we have good people. I can't imagine it would be possible. They're going to try. They have all their A-team out. That's the only thing they do well, actually. They cheat and also misinformation. They say, we really want to run against Trump. Well, how did that work out for Hillary? Not too good. And remember, last time, we did much better than we did in 2016. We got like 12 million more votes, right? We got more votes than any sitting president in history. And we lost to a guy that never left his basement. He didn't get 80 million votes. He didn't get 80 million votes. And they have a big enthusiasm problem now. It's interesting, speaking of that, so I left the hotel this morning here. And they said, sir, Nikki Haley's going to have a very big protest outside. So I figured I'm going to walk down, I'll wave to everybody, and, they'll have a protest. There was nobody there. There was one guy who was the nicest guy. He had a little tiny Haley. The name was like this big. It wasn't like that guy or these people with those beautiful signs, L. But it wasn't like that tiny little thing you could barely read. I was actually going to suggest that he make it larger. But he was a nice guy. He goes, hi, President Trump. Hi. Hi. I said hi. I could have persuaded him, but I was late for the other rally. I wanted to be nice on time. Unlike what I was for you, I wanted to be on time. But this big rally turned out to be one person, the nicest rally goer I've ever seen for the other side. I'm sure he's going to vote for us. I was nice to him. I said, hi. Make sure you go and vote. And he said, thank you very much. But that's what they have. They have no enthusiasm. Our people have enthusiasm. So I heard it's going to be very... So I saw Bobby Kaufman. I saw the whole group backstage. I said, well, I hear the weather's going to be very cold. It's going to be cold, not going to be rainy. It's going to be cold. And they said, that's good. Why is it good? Why is that good? Because the other side will never vote because they don't have any enthusiasm. We won't lose one vote because our people, they use the term, will walk on glass. They're not going to stay away. They're going to walk on glass. So, and I think it's true because I've never, we've gone through two unbelievably successful campaigns. And again, the second was much more successful, but bad things happened. But we've gone through two, and the first one was legendary, but this will be more legendary. This will be the biggest thing perhaps ever to happen in politics. And we're fighting against these weaponized criminals, where they weaponize. And, two can play that game. It's a very dangerous game once they start that. We could have done a lot of stuff, too. I thought it was so bad for the country. I thought it was so bad for the country, and it is very bad for the country. But, and they are criminals. You look at the kind of things, the stuff that the money he takes from these foreign countries. If that were us, they would have reinstituted the death penalty if that were us. The money that he gets from China, he gets the $3.5 million from Russia. Remember I brought that up on the stage? Chris Wallace said, you can't talk about that. I said, why? He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. What did he do for it? Did he work for it? Did he invest? No, I don't think so. He invested in his own pocket. But I said, why is that? The money they've taken, and two can play this game. It's a very dangerous game, and it's very bad for our country. And our country's dying, and there's no time to waste. You vote, you have to get these establishment politicians out of there because they're bad, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Unlike every other candidate in this race with me, in your heart that I will always put America first, which I will. I think I've proven that. I could have had a nice life. Look, I didn't need this. I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone. Did you ever hear of Al Capone? Al Capone. He was the greatest mobster of them all. Scarface. You ever see the movie Scarface? He had a scar from here to there. Scar, and I think he probably liked it. He thought it looked good. But Al Capone, he was indicted less than me. I got indicted because I challenged a crooked election. Now it's turned out, you saw the facts that came out 2 days ago, 100% right. I have no doubt about it. Never did have any doubt about it. But now what they're doing is misinformation. That's right. You're right about that, actually. Well, they do have it. Trump was right about everything. I actually was, including Wuhan. I said Wuhan. That's where it came from. Everyone was saying... They tried to blame Italy. They tried to blame France. They tried to blame us. They tried to blame the American soldiers. The soldiers said, what did we have to do with it? But no, it came out of the lab. I said it came out of the lab from Wuhan. That's what happened. That's a sad thing. And I think it was incompetence. A lot of people think otherwise. I think it was gross incompetence. I think the scientist walked out, had lunch with his girlfriend. She died shortly thereafter, and a lot of people started dying, and that's where it spread. That's how it came, I believe. I've said it from the beginning. But a vote for Donald Trump in these caucuses is a vote to secure your border, a vote to stop the invasion of our country. It's like a military invasion. Because I believe they're killing 300,000 people a year. Not, you always hear 90. I've been hearing 90 for 15 years. I believe it's 350,000. And we had it down to the lowest number in a long time because we not only stopped, we had the safest border ever recorded, meaning perhaps 200 years ago it was good. I doubt it. But we had the safest border ever recorded. And there's never been anything like that. And now we have the worst. We have the worst immigration situation of any country anywhere in the world ever. There's never been even a third world country where you have a thing like this. And they would stop it. They'd use sticks and stones if they had to, but they wouldn't let it happen. We let it happen. We encourage it. And these are people that are occupying our hospitals now. They're taking the place of our vets. I mean, our vets are sleeping out on the street, and these people are staying at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really bad. It's a vote to rescue our economy, and it's a vote to reclaim our democracy, because, you know, that's his new theme. Did you watch him stumble through that speech last night? Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Now, that's the only thing he can say, because they didn't do anything. In fact, a lot of the people were saying, you know, got a little tired. I think he mentioned my name 29 times. But he said Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. That's going to be their case, because he can't say anything good. The world is blowing up. They asked the great Viktor Orban of Hungary, one of the toughest, smartest leaders in the world, actually, one of very respected, very tough guy. Very tough guy. He doesn't play games. They say, what could we do to make the world safer? He says, make sure Trump becomes president, because when he was president, now he said this, I wouldn't say it. He said, when he was president, China feared him, Russia feared him, every country feared him. I don't want to say, let's say respect, but they feared our country because they knew that there was no games. Russia was never going into Ukraine, and it was the apple of his eye. I talked to him a lot, Putin. You know, they hated when I got along with Putin, but I like getting along with people with 1,600 nuclear weapons. I think getting along with them. I got along with Kim Jong-un. You would have been, if Hillary got in at the time, if Hillary got in, you would have been in a nuclear war with Kim Jong-un. He expected it. I got to know him. He liked me. We got along great. Didn't start that way, little rocket man, all the stuff. It started tough, but he got along, we got along, and you had no problem. But now he's getting very anxious again. He's getting very anxious because they're not dealing with him properly. They're not dealing with anybody properly, and that's why you could end up in a third world war. And while we're close to the election, we're not close enough, because 10 months for them, they can destroy our country all the way in 10 months. 10 months, they can destroy our country. And you probably heard me say, if you took the 10 worst presidents, I used to say the 5, and then I realized the 5 don't even come close. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country, the 10 worst, you added them up, they they couldn't have done the damage that this guy has done to our country. And remember, you know, MAGA is the greatest, probably the greatest ever in politics, but I was going to put it CAG. I'm glad I didn't do that, actually, CAG. Keep America Great. But then I realized America's not great. I can't use it. America's not great right now. We're going to make it great. We're going to make it better than ever before. But right now, we're a laughingstock all over the world. So this election is our last chance to save America. The battle begins in Iowa. It begins right here. First in the nation, it begins right here in Iowa on January 15th, and Joe Biden's Banana Republic ends on November 5th, 2024. That's what it is. And with your help, we're going to bring back our country. We're going to bring it back from hell, because this country has been in hell. What they've done, and they ought to, you know what they ought to do? They ought to release the J6 hostages. They've suffered enough. They ought to release them. I call them hostages. Some people call them prisoners. I call them hostages. Release the J6 hostages, Joe. Release them, Joe. You can do it real easy, Joe. This guy, what he's done to people. And Antifa knocks the hell out of Portland, takes over parts of Seattle, destroys Minneapolis. If I didn't send in the soldiers, Minneapolis, you wouldn't even have Minneapolis, right? Because the governor wouldn't do anything. I'm not even supposed to do that. I had no choice. 7 days in, I sent them in. The place was burning down. They took over the police station. The police weren't allowed to do their jobs. We got to allow the police to do their jobs, and we're going to indemnify the police against liability, and you'll stop crime. Remember that CNN guy? He's up. This is really a friendly protest. Remember that? Minneapolis. This is a friendly protest. And right behind him, the whole city was burning to the ground. You remember that? As far as the eye could see, it was all flames. And I mean, all massive. It looked the biggest fire I've ever seen. And he said, oh, this is CNN. That's right, CNN. This has been a friendly protest. Friendly. No, it's one of the greatest scenes in the history of television, as he's calling. And behind it, I don't mean like there's a little smoke. The whole place was in flames. It was crazy. No, they're really bad. But victory cannot come soon enough as we speak. The last remnants of our open and broken borders are crumbling into rubble as millions and millions of people storm into the United States in the largest illegal mass migration in the history of the world. There's never been a migration like this. Millions and millions of people. It'll be 15 or 16 million people by the end of this guy's term. And I'm not even sure he understands. You know, he's not a smart guy. I never used to talk this way about him. I talk very badly about him now because he indicted me 4 times. That means everything's off, right? He has this guy, Jack Smith. He's a deranged human being. He's a nut job. I have him. And he's being investigated on boxes. He did real stuff because he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act. But I have Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith, I call him, and he's all over the place, trying to frighten people, trying to scare people. And he has a very bad record. You know why? Because he always goes too far. He goes so far, and he's got a bad record, lost before the Supreme Court a couple of times. But a record 300,000 illegal aliens were detected crossing the borders in December. And think of that, 300,000. That's bigger than almost any city you have in your state. Iowa has, I don't know, how many people in Des Moines? How many people does Des Moines have? What is it? 100,000. Got to be bigger than that. He said 200, whatever. 300,000 came in like in the last couple of months. 300,000. We have no idea. I say from parts unknown. It's from parts unknown. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 300,000 people from parts unknown. They have languages that we don't even have people that know what the languages are. So it's rough stuff what they're doing to our country, but we're going to turn it around. Under the Trump administration, we have the most secure border in U.S. history. We built 561 miles of border wall. You know, I tell people, because they like to say we did 50 miles. Okay, 50 miles when? The first week? So if we have a 2x4 laying on the ground, and over there, that's 50 years old and rotted, just sort of decayed, and just, you know, maybe it was a little bit of a tiny wall or something, which we throw away and start the new wall. We go down 8 feet. We go up 30 feet and 40 feet. But if there's a little piece of steel that's 50 years old that's rotted, laying on the ground, they say, he didn't build a wall there. That was just a renovation. These people are sick. And you do. You have garbage laying up and down the border. Anytime you had anything, it was a piece of paper laying, they say it was a renovation because they don't want you. We did an unbelievable job. The reason our numbers are so good are that. And of course, I got 28,000 soldiers free of charge from Mexico. Not easy to get. When I went to the president, I said, you have to give us 28,000 soldiers while we're building the wall. And remember when I used to say Mexico will pay for pieces of the wall, but you can't do it legally. It's a little hard for them to pay for a wall that we own. You know, it's not that easy. But there was no real legal mechanism. But there was a mechanism where they could pay for soldiers. So I want 28,000 soldiers on the border. I want a remain in Mexico policy. I got all this stuff. And I got it despite the State Department, everyone else telling me you can't get it. A woman at the State Department was terrific, but she was not a good negotiator. She said, sir, you can't get free soldiers from Mexico. We've been asking them for years. They won't do it. I said, yes, they will. 100% they'll do it. 100%. And as far as catch and release, you know, catch and release meant we release them into our country. We had a new definition. Catch and release, we release them into Mexico. Slight difference, slight difference. And then we had remain in Mexico. Remember Tijuana? Tijuana, over about a 2-week period, became like the largest city in the world. I'm only kidding when I say, I have to be very careful because when I say something like that and I'm sarcastic, they say, he called Tijuana the largest city. And Seoul is larger. And Beijing is larger, you know. If you're a little sarcastic with these characters, they say, he lied, we're giving him a Pinocchio, you know, Pinocchio, 4 stars, because I said Tijuana. But Tijuana became a massive mess because they had hundreds of thousands of people there that we wouldn't allow into the country. Biden ended that. It wasn't easy to get. And I was very tough with Mexico. I said, you know, you do this. And by the way, Mexico now is asking for $5 billion if we want them to help us keep people out of our country. Can you? They would never have done that with me. I said, look, if you don't do it, because they had a representative come in, I said, if you don't do that, and he was a handsome guy, came in, and I really do. I like the president of Mexico. He's a great guy. He's a socialist. But what the hell can you do? You can't have them all, right? But he's a great guy. And he sent his top negotiator, his top representative, came in, very handsome, suave guy, beautifully dressed. I remember how good I was going to ask him for his tailor, but I didn't feel like going to Mexico to get a suit. It wasn't worthwhile to go to Mexico to get a suit. But very suave guy. And I said, we need 28,000 soldiers, and you're going to have to pay for them. No. He looks laughing. Oh, no, we won't do it. Oh, yes, you will. No, you will do it. 100%. You're going to do it. No, we're not going to do it. Yes, you will. You will do it. You'll do it. And he didn't know what was going on. Then I said, we want remain in Mexico. Everybody that's at the border is going to remain in Mexico. And did we create a mess there? Because Tijuana and these cities along the border they had a lot of people. And no, we won't do that. We can't allow that. We're not equipped for that. I said, yes, you are. You're going to do it. And then we had other things, including our title program, where we had, you know, if sick people are sick, we don't want them in our country. We don't want them in our country. So he said, no. I said, yes, you're going to do it. Don't worry about it. He said, we will not do it. You're going to do it. 100% you're going to do it. I said, here's the story. In front of me, I have a piece of paper that I actually signed. On Monday morning, this was Friday afternoon, on Monday morning, we're going to charge every piece of equipment, every car that you took out of the United States. You know, they took out 32% of our business. They make them in Mexico. They have some of the largest auto plants in the world. They stole them from our stupid people. Our stupid, I hate to say it because, again, I have a lot of respect for a president, but our presidents were very stupid when they allowed this to happen. 32% of our automobile business was taken out of our country and is in Mexico. So they send massive numbers, millions of cars into our country. I said, we're going to charge you 25% on every car that comes into our country and 25% on every item. And in 2 months, it goes to 50%. And in 2 months after that, it goes to 75%. And maybe I'll stop at 75%. And he goes, no. And he said, may I be excused? May I make a phone call? And he comes back. I say, but make it quick if you would. I have to get out of here. And I tell you, I really impressed the woman at the State Department, because she was a good woman. But she said, I can't believe this. Because all these things, and I asked Tom Homan, I asked Brandon Judd, they're great guys, by the way. All they had to do was let them do their jobs. This guy would go to the beach. If he didn't tell him to do it, if he went to the beach, that little chair that he holds up, of course, it's like 3 ounces, right? A child can, they're meant for children to lift them for the grandfather, right? He can't lift them. Did you see how he couldn't get it out of the sand? The thing weighs like 6 ounces, I guess. And if he would have gone to the beach, because somebody in his campaign said, you look really good in a bathing suit. You know, when you're 82, or whatever the hell he is, I know a lot of people, by the way, in their 80s, that the sharpest people. I know a friend of mine became a billionaire he never quite made it. And then he hit big from 80 to 90. He became worth billions of dollars. You can be, this is not an age thing. This is something else is going on up there with this guy. But all he had to do is leave it alone. He could have gone to the beach. If he would have gone to the beach and left everything alone, he would have had the safest border in history. But he decided to end everything that we were doing. He wouldn't even put up the planks, the panels of wall. We had bought them, 200 miles of wall. He sold them, I understand, for 5 cents on the dollar. It's expensive stuff because it's rebar. It's what they wanted. It's rebar, concrete, and steel on the outside. And it's really a sad thing. I will tell you, it's really a sad thing. We had the greatest border. We had the greatest border in history, and now we have the worst border in the history of the world. No place in the world. But Ron DeSanctimonious, Nikki Haley, and the rest they're never going to be into securing the border because they're globalists. They want the globe. They like the globe, and they believe it. Maybe they're right. I don't think they're right. I think I've proven they're not right. And we want to protect America, and we'll help people, but we want to protect America. We've got $35 trillion in debt. You know, that debt, we were going to be drilling like crazy, and we became number one. We went from number 4 to number 1 in a period of short period of time. We were so drill, baby, drill. You're right about that. But we were doing so well. It was Saudi Arabia and then Russia, and we were down here. and you have to see the chart. I got to get the chart for the people at some point. It goes like we're down here, then all of a sudden we go, Trump gets in, he goes, shh, and we passed Russia, we passed Saudi Arabia, we were doing more, and soon we were going to be energy dominant. We were energy independent, but we were going to be selling to Europe, to Asia, all over the world we were going to be selling. We would have been paying off our debt. It was unbelievable. Then this guy comes in and stopped everything. He gave up Anwar in Alaska. I got Anwar, so proud of it. I got Anwar. Nobody could do it. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. He tried so hard he couldn't get it approved. And that was a lot easier environmentally, a lot easier in those days. But I got it approved. We were going to start drilling in Anwar very shortly. Great for Alaska, but great for the country, for the world. The largest site, probably bigger than Saudi Arabia. Think of that. And he ended it in his first week. He terminated everything I did. We worked our asses off to get that. He terminated everything that I did on Anwar. That would have made so much money for this country, but we're going to pay off debt. We had a machine going, and then we had a rigged election, and all of that ended. Then we had inflation, which was caused, by the way, by energy. You know, when your gasoline triples and quadruples, and your heating and your house goes up, everything else is going to go up too. The bakery is going to go up. They deliver their donuts and they use their fuel to cook the whatever it is. Everything goes up. Energy is so big, and we had it at a level that nobody... We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy, and they blew it. And we had no inflation. One of the biggest donors to Nikki Haley's campaign is this slob known as Reid Hoffman, the big slob. I can't use the word fat, so I won't. They'll criticize me. If I say fat, you're not allowed to use fat, so I will not call him a fat slob. I'll just call him a slob. You're allowed to. But a real slob, you got to look at a picture of this guy. But he's a rich guy. He supports crooked. Think of it. He supports all of these crooked people, but he also supports Haley. Can you believe it? You know why? Because they don't want to run against Trump. But they're great on misinformation, disinformation. It's almost the same, but it's actually not. But we won't go into definitions. They are great on misinformation, disinformation. We want to run against Trump. That's what Hillary said, too. Let's run against Trump. That'll be wonderful. But we want to run against Trump. We beat him the first time. We beat him this. They don't want to run against me. But they say that because that's sort of demeaning. Every poll has us beating Biden. They're losing to Biden. They all say, oh, well, we're going to win. They're not going to win. First of all, they can't beat me. They're 50, 60 points down. They're not going to win. And they're going to get hit harder than me. So with me, they hit me. And they won't take it like I take it, because I take it. People do say, they say, two questions they have for me. One is, sir, how do you do it? How do you take it? And the other one is, will they do it again? They better not do it again. We have a lot of good people, and we're fighting like hell. I actually say, don't worry about the vote. We're going to get plenty of votes. Just worry about securing the vote. And we used to say election day, right? But today you have election period. You have some of these things that go on for 55 days. We want one-day voting. We want paper ballots, and we want voter ID. And Republican governors should do it right now. There's no reason for them to wait. But much like with Ron DeSanctimonious, the people who fund Nikki Haley aren't working for your interest. They're working for their interest. They really are. And look, I know them both very well. I mean, they're very disloyal. Nikki would say, I will never run against the president. He did this for years. I will never run against the president. He was a great president. I will never run. I always used to say, that's nice. But I knew her. So I figured, when's it going to come? Because she can't help herself. I knew it. And then one day she called it, and that's, I've decided to run for president. I'm not going to do the job for you. She's not going to do the job. So you have that, and you have Biden, and all they're going to do is grant amnesty to Biden's illegal aliens, and they'll do it very early because they believed in that. And they also believed in hurting your Social Security. They believed in hurting your Medicare. And I didn't. Ron DeSanctimonious wanted to lift the age from a much different number, much different, up to above 70, and he voted on it 3 times. You don't want that. We have so much wealth under our feet in the liquid gold. We don't need to hurt people with Social Security, senior citizens, and they'll go back. When Ron, and the same thing with Nikki, both of them, I wouldn't tell you who to vote for. I tell you, I wouldn't know. They're both not good. They're both, there's a rumor that Ron's going to leave the race right after this. I read it. No, he's going to endorse me. I don't know if that's true or not. I make it much harder for him to, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. But the rumors, a big story just came out. Did anybody see it? That Ron's going to leave. So you're really into politics, and going to leave the race. He's going to endorse me, and that's going to be it. Well, that'd be nice. But you know what? It's important. We got to get the biggest vote, because I'm thinking more about November. We have to send a signal to these crooked people out there, to a corrupt Washington. By the way, we're going to also federalize Washington. We're going to take over our capital, which is so dirty, so horrible, and so unsafe. 3 people killed over the last couple of days, shot, tourists. The parks are disgusting, the most beautiful parks in the world. The buildings have graffiti, the white marble columns are beautiful. The statuary marble, the most beautiful marble you've ever seen, gorgeous columns that are 10 feet thick, and they've got graffiti all over. They have swastikas on them. We don't do anything. It's filthy dirty. We're going to redo it. We're going to get rid of the slums. We're going to redo it. We're going to bring it back. It's going to be the most beautiful capital in the world. And most importantly, we're going to make it safe. We're going to give the police back their authority. We're going to make it safe so people can actually walk down the street without getting shot. And we're going to do that, the same things for our cities, because our cities are in tremendous decay right now. Our cities are all run by Democrats, the cities we're talking about. But we're going to go into our major cities, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, and we're going to rebuild our cities, and we're going to make them safe. We're going to give the police back their authority. We're going to indemnify the police so that when they get sued all the time, they get sued and the city doesn't back them up. But we're going to indemnify our police. So if they stop criminals from robbing stores, how about this new phenomena where 300-400 people, mostly young people, go into a department store and they just loot the hell out of it. There's nothing left in the store, and then they have to close. They spent millions of dollars building it, millions of dollars stocking it, and these guys go in a half hour. They walk out with televisions. Those people are going to be dealt with so tough. And as soon as and you know what I mean by tough. And as soon as that happens, in one day, the whole thing will stop. But we have to bring back our police. We have to help our police. We have to love our police. I met a lot of you great policemen backstage. And they know how to do it. But we're going to indemnify them because they do get sued. They get sued. And you're going to always have some bad apples. You're always going to have that, I'm sorry, no matter what. But, you know, we can't let that, because we've gone the other way. Police, it's like they have no power. They can't even talk to people. Don't shout, don't shout. If they're robbing, how about this? If they're robbing a store, let them rob it. This is the orders to the police. Let them rob the store. No. If they're robbing the store, they're going to be so tough. I don't know if we'll do the Clint Eastwood thing, right? Make my day. He wants to do that. Remember Clint Eastwood? Make my day. Go ahead. He had the gun to spare. Make my day. Go ahead. The guy's inching toward the gun. I don't know that we'll do that, but could be close. I mean, you know, could be. But not one thing has gotten better under crooked Joe Biden, under the Trump administration. Think of it, not one thing. Name me one thing that's gotten better. Well, inflation's gotten bigger. That's about the only thing you can say, right? What a disaster. You know, we're up almost 30% over 3 years. And, you know, you're not going to bring that down. They think it's down because the economy's getting bad. You know, they've made interest rates so high that the economy's getting killed right now. But you're not going to solve the problem where your bacon costs 4 times more than it cost 3 years ago. Numbers that are incredible, 4 or 5 times more for food and for other items. Under the Trump administration, you were better off. Your family was better off. Your neighbors were better off, your communities were better off, and your country was better off. Other than that, you should be quite unhappy. America was stronger, richer, safer, and more confident than ever. And when I was in the Oval Office behind that beautiful Resolute desk, you ever hear of the Resolute desk? Most beautiful desk. I love that desk. We got to get back to that desk. This country was in great shape. We had the greatest economy. Think of it, greatest economy ever. We had the lowest number of regulations in 55 years. No president got regulations. That's why we had such great job numbers. We were bringing people back. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. We were giving a lot of it to the farmers in Iowa and Nebraska and other great places. And I joke, but that's why, you know, backstage they say to me sometimes, sir, don't tell them that they're going to vote for you. That sounds so demeaning. I said, I got them $28 billion for their farmers. Of course they're going to vote. We're going to win. Iowa's so big. I got them $28 billion. Of course I'm going to win. You know, maybe, who knows? But I tell them, you think Joe Biden would get 28? You think he lies awake at night tossing and turning and how are we going to take care of President Xi? President Xi is very smart, and it's all business. You meet him. We will now get down to business. And I said, this is a little different. This isn't, gee, it's a nice day. How's the sky? This is serious stuff. These guys are serious, and there's nobody smarter. They're smart. They're cunning. They love their country. Different forms of love. Thank you. I agree with that, actually. But different forms of love, but they're tough, and they're smart. You look at France, Emmanuel Macron, he was going to put taxes on. I said, you're going to put those taxes on? I'm going to put a tax on your champagne and your wine coming in. We're going to put big, big taxes on. So I will tell you this. We are going to bring this country back to a level that you haven't seen before. We're going to bring the country back like it hasn't. And by the way, here's some of my staff. They can't get enough of me, so they come out to watch. The great Susie Wiles. The legendary Susie Wiles. She ran Florida for me. You know, nobody wants to say it, but I got 1.4 million more votes than Ron DeSanctimonious. You know, nobody wants. He only got good votes because I endorsed him, but we got 1.4 or 1.5 million more votes than Ron DeSanctimonious. But she ran it for me. Now she's running the whole campaign. I shouldn't say this. I'll make her famous. Then somebody's going to hire her away, but I don't think that's going to happen because she's into it. Do you know that gentleman right there? Very famous man. Walt. He's in many ways more famous than I am, and he's a good man, too. But it's no wonder it's the same corrupt forces that have been fighting us every step of the way. They fight us and fight us and fight us. They don't want us going back because we found out things that are just too bad. So, look, we are going to get elected. You're going to get out there in caucus. I'm going to be with you for caucus. I'm coming back in 2 days, 3 days. We're going to make, this was a rather hectic day. We made lots of stops and lots of speeches and big ones. The level, I will tell you this, the level of enthusiasm, I've never seen anything like it. But we're going to come back. And remember, if you want to save America from Crooked Joe, then get every patriot you know, get 10. You know, we say 10 for 10, but get 10 and make sure they're registered Republicans. You have to register as Republicans, get them out to vote. And it's Monday, January 15th, 7 p.m. I'm going to be there. We're all going to be there together. And we're going to be first. You're first in the nation because of me, but we're going to be America first again. It's America first. There's nobody that we put ahead of our country. There's nobody that we're going to put ahead of our country. The whole world is watching, so learn how to caucus. I'm going to learn with you because I have no idea how to caucus. But we're all smart. We're going to learn very quickly. I leave you with this. Look, we have a special thing happening. We have numbers like nobody's ever seen before. Forget that. Get out and vote. We're going to set a tune, and we're going to set an authority like nobody's ever seen before. And we love you. I recognize so many of you. We've won twice. We've won twice. And, you know, we've won twice. And you take a look, and from Fort Dodge to Cedar Rapids, from Des Moines to Davenport, from Waterloo to Sioux City to right here in Clinton. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't cancel you out. That would have been the end. That would have been the end. We stand on the shoulders of generations of Iowa patriots who tamed the wilderness, braved the elements, tilled the soil, worked the fields, all true, isn't it? Built the factories and poured out their blood, sweat, and tears to make this country into the greatest nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation in decline. We are a nation in decline, sad to say. We are a failing nation. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, its willpower, and strength. Think of the words, lost its confidence. We do. We have no confidence as a nation. We're being laughed at all over the world. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. 3 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. And remember that it was hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and it is hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. We will fight for America like no one has ever fought before. 2024 is our final battle. It's our final battle. Remember this, we together are going to do something that will be, I believe, the biggest event in the history of our country. That's how important it is. And they're going to put up stop signs all along the way, and many of them are illegal stop signs. They're bad people. They're very bad. They're sick people. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, and fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country. They hate our country with a passion. It can be the only reason they do what they do. We will rout the fake news media, those people right there. And we will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House on election night 2024. The great silent majority is rising like never before, like never before. The level of spirit and pride and enthusiasm is greater than it was in 16, and it's greater than it was at 20. And I shouldn't say this, but any numbers that they're thinking about, I think we're going to even be bigger than that next week. It's going to be bigger than any numbers, because that's what's there. It's the underbelly. It's bigger than anybody has any idea of what's going on, because it's based on common sense. It's based on safety. It's based on pride. We want to see our country be great again. We want it to be not just great. We want to have the greatest country in the world without question. And we had that. We had something that has never been duplicated, what we did. Never been duplicated. Under our leadership, the forgotten man and woman will be forgotten no longer. You're not going to be forgotten. We didn't forget you for 4 years, but Biden totally forgot you. We will love our country. We will take care of our country. We will pray to God for our strength and for our liberty. We will pray for God, and we will be with God, because we are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make it proud. We will make America safe. Forget it's going to be safe. And we will make America great again. Thank you, Iowa. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.